Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
Calvin Kattar meets Arnold Allen in what appears to be a featherweight crossing roads in the UFC's division. Now, is this the most stacked division in the world? Absolutely not at this point. Honestly, right now we have a champion in Alexander Volkanovski whose eyes are set on the 155-pound division, the lightweight division. So more or less, even though we have a fantastic main event, right? We have a barn burner set on deck. We kind of had a weird stipulation and a weird crossroads that we're coming to. We're kind of in that limbo. So at the end of the day, this might not determine who's going to be the next champion of the division, but this is going to determine who's going to be the future spear holder, the whatever you want to call it, of the division. This is big opportunity right here. And breaking it down with me, as always, is my co-host, the New Mexico native, the Santa Fe bomber, the man that is just a couple picks behind for the lead, my man. Well, listen, stakes are high, tensions are raised. How are you feeling, brother?
Brother, I am doing well, Derick. I agree with you. This is one of those interesting cards where it feels like not a lot is on the line, but come down the road, man. These are going to be the two guys fighting for the championship for quite a long time, man. I'm feeling excited about this fight card. It's going to be a banger, man. We got some crazy fights even on the prelims, man. It's going to be a fun episode, or a fun week of fights, which makes for a fun episode. How you doing, brother?
I was about to say, I think that all kind of equates to the fun episode, but I'm really doing good, man. I'm doing good because I think we get a real sneaky high level main event the week after UFC 280, the week after the bout that was supposed to be the card of the year. Now, did it quite deliver card of the year expectations? No, but it's these little sleepy ones, man. They're going to be the ones that are going to surprise you. So I'm hoping that we're in for some violence, but more important than anything else, man, we got some picks on deck today that are going to further determine whether the leads get tighter or it expands more. And folks, just so you understand that this is a program with real stakes on the line, stakes is going to be a big common theme here today. We got a little something that we fighting for. Now, let me just do it real quick, AJ. So, folks, if you remember history-wise, if you've been a fan of this program for a while, you'll know that last year I won the inaugural Bloody Water Podcast head-to-head tournament. I guess you want to say 2021, right? I got the job done in our inaugural season, but that just means that the target was bigger on my back coming into season number 2, right? So it is season number 2. My man AJ has been in the lead. He's been really coming for the vengeance the entire year. It's real close right now, and we got new hardware in, and we're ready to talk about it. So, folks, this is what's on the line. This isn't just pride. This is what you need to concern yourself with. The Bloody Water Podcast 2022 Undisputed Championship belt right here. Now, clearly, AJ, I want to have this belt behind me, and I want to have another one stacked up on top. But I see a lot of space right there, a lot of white behind you, brother, where a belt sitting fancy behind you, I think that would be looking pretty good. At the end of the day, clearly, I want to win, you want to win, but regardless of who wins, that just means we got belts on belts for the Bloody Water Podcast, your favorite fighter's favorite fight show. And folks, if you have not subscribed yet, you absolutely should. Be a fan of the show, be a supporter of the show, but more importantly, man, just be a solid fight fan and show a little bit of love. You already dig what time it is. AJ, give me some thoughts and let's jump into some fights.
Man, all I can say, Derick, you nailed it already, man. You know, folks, we out here fighting for the ships. We out here fighting for win y'all some money. But the biggest thing, man, you can see Derick already pointed out a little bit. I got some space right here that I'm trying to put a gold belt right behind, man. Get Bearzer a gold belt to go along with it, man. But either way, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We wouldn't be here without you. We wouldn't be battling for a belt. Well, we probably wouldn't be battling for a belt, but regardless, it's good to do it in front of y'all in anyway. And like Derick said, man, your favorite fighter's favorite fight show. Let's win y'all some money this week. It's going to be a fun one, like I said earlier.
My man is on top of the game. And folks, we're jumping into these fights right now, but one more time, one last look. This is what we're fighting for right here. The new logo, too, Bloody Water Podcast. You already dig what time it is. Now, I'm going to put that away. And AJ, let's focus on these fights, brother. So we're going to break it down with some sleepers. We'll do the bet sheet and all that good stuff in a second. Once again, subscribe if you haven't. But without any further ado, let's talk this main event, brother. Let's get it.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
All right, my man, this is another main event. Calvin Kattar steps into the octagon once again. And once again, there is another contender on the prowl, I guess, in the featherweight division that a lot of people are saying has a solid chance of upsetting Calvin Kattar, or in this case, not upsetting, but just dethroning the man once again, taking him further and further down from the peak that he had reached once he, had that good streak that he was on prior to the Max Holloway fight. It was kind of the downfall in terms of his trajectory until he came back against the Giga Chikadze of the world, right? My question to you here, man, is Arnold Allen, I think he holds the longest win streak active right now in the division. That's not like an undefeated fighter, right? This dude is he's a monster. He's an animal. Great striking, great grappling, great wrestling. But he doesn't have the same resume that a Calvin Kattar does, man. So I wanted to ask you off of the bat, how big is experience going to come into play in this matchup right here? Calvin Kattar said it himself. He says, listen, I've answered a couple of questions in these 5-round fights that I've taken. Arnold Allen, there's a couple of questions that he's yet to answer. Not of his own fault, right? He just hasn't had the opportunity. Now is the opportunity. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's exactly the storytelling that goes into this fight right here, man. You can just look at numbers alone. Calvin Kattar with the 23-6 versus the younger, the Arnold Allen, who is 18-1. Like you said, Derek, on a winning streak since 2014. So there's a lot going for this dude as far as momentum, but also, man, experience comes into play because Calvin Kattar's been with the big dogs. He's been with the Max Holloways. He's been with all these fighters that really do prove your mettle in that cage. Where Arnold Allen still, to the common fan, rather untested. This is going to be a good one to actually see what he gets done in there and how Arnold Allen, puts together the grappling with the striking, especially going against the boxing heavy striking of Calvin Kattar, man. This is going to be a very fun fight to see how Arnold Allen really holds up to the caliber that is Calvin Kattar.
Yeah, no, I'd absolutely agree with you. And at the end of the day, I mean, if you were just taking a look, folks, if you're just listening right here, Arnold Allen, he literally, man, the streak is fantastic. Hasn't lost since 2014, but you also do see a run of 4, about 6 or 7 decisions in that span that all went his way, right? Now, a lot of them are unanimous, so of course you're getting the dub, one split decision here. But the question is, man, when it comes down to these unanimous decision victories where he's able to kind of outwill these people, really just like use the cardio to be able to kind of get the job done over the course of a long fight. Calvin Kattar also has that same skill in his tool belt, right? Arguably, this is a dude who come round 4 and 5, he's not going to be tired. You're going to be having to put your foot on the gas. And that's where the number one problem becomes, man. Arnold Allen's never fought 5 rounds in his professional MMA career. So I can see him getting off to a hot start. Rounds 1 and 2, definitely in the bag. 3, 4, 5, that's the question. Let's take a step back real quick. And I just want to talk about the last Calvin Kattar fight against Josh Emmett, right? What are we talking about? Same thing, right? Slow start for Kattar, and then he came out hot those last 3 rounds, right? Did he win the fight? No. Should he have won the fight? Probably not. But at the end of the day, if you really come down to look at it, it was a closer fight than a lot of people would probably argue. They probably forgot about it and are now going into this fight, oh, Calvin Kattar got smoked. Arnold Allen's going to beat his ass. And it's like, I don't quite feel that way. So in terms of Arnold Allen's last win being a knockout against Dan Hooker, who made his return to the featherweight division, how much do you read into that going into this Calvin Kattar fight?
To the knockout against Dan Hooker, I mean, I guess Dan Hooker 2-3 years ago, that would have carried a lot of weight, a lot of weight. But then you get Dan Hooker now, who's dropping down a division back into the featherweight division, gets a little, chinny when a lot of people you're cutting that weight. So does it weigh heavy? Not necessarily, man. It's a big name value. There's a lot. I can see why a lot of people would weigh heavy on that fight. But I think what weighs heaviest right here is what you're talking about, Derek, the cardio, the conditioning, and the pace and pressure that's going to go into this fight right here. Because you're right. Calvin Kattar, man, this dude's going to pour it on rounds 3, 4, and 5 if it stays boxing. But if Arnold Allen can get this fight to the ground, really take it to Calvin Kattar, especially early in the fight, win rounds 1 through rounds 3, and then just get him to the ground and sit there, lay and pray, which I'm not going to say is going to be the game plan for Arnold Allen. But if it was to be, how could he not get a win going? Do you think he's going to utilize that kind of game plan, that kind of ground and pound, put you to the ground, get you there, stay there, land shots on top, or is he going to test his striking against Calvin Kattar, man? It's a pretty high risk, high reward, if you will, for the boxing. What do you think?
Well, I mean, if I remember correctly, right, Josh Emmett is the last dude to fight Calvin Kattar. How many takedowns did Josh Emmett land? And we know how good of a grappler Josh Emmett is, right? Look at the Giga Chikadze fight. What separated a striker versus a striker? Calvin Kattar's wrestling, right? So this is kind of the thing. I think a lot of people, they discount and they underrate Calvin Kattar's grappling ability because he's such a solid striker and because he has such good boxing. But at the end of the day, man, I don't think Arnold Allen, who is a smaller man, and Calvin Kattar said it best himself. He's like, listen, man, muscles don't win fights. But he is a smaller man. I think it's going to be a little challenging for him to solidly get Kattar to the ground and just hold him there. I think it's going to be a lot easier said than done. So when it comes down to it, I think they're going to be trading it out on the feet. I guess the question that I have for you here, AJ, is that at the end of the day, man. Calvin Kattar loves to go forward. Arnold Allen is okay with going backwards. And arguably, he looks the most beatable when he is taken off of his rhythm and when he is being chased around the ring, where he's constantly back hitting the cage. Oh shit. And then I'm kind of scrambling, but he also does a lot of really good work countering off of the back foot. Will Calvin Kattar's pressure melt in Arnold Allen, or do you think this is going to effectively play right into his game plan?
I'm going with the latter, Derek. I'm going with it's going to lead to more opportunities that Arnold Allen's going to be able to what's the word I'm looking for?
Capitalize on.
Capitalize. Thank you. I was thinking of a word with a C. Capitalize on and actually make it his game plan, man. Especially because if you've done any kind of fight research on Calvin Kattar, you know this dude has a gas tank. You know he's going to be sitting on that front foot.
Now, this is, I guess, the final question before we talk about the actual wagering, because I do think this is going to be a very high level, a thinking man's fight, if you will, right? But this is the question. Calvin Kattar is a dude who is very difficult to put away, legitimately, right? Max Holloway came the closest as of late. Like, come on, the fight should have been stopped, but he made it through, right? If Arnold Allen manages to have an impressive victory against Calvin Kattar, let's talk even a stoppage against Calvin Kattar, I mean, the potential goes out the roof. You have to be the next guy fighting for the title, right?
Oh, 100%, man. If Arnold Allen especially is able to stop Calvin Kattar in the first 2 rounds, this dude, I think we even might get a chance to have Volkanovski stay in the division and really start thinking about this. Or you can start hearing some rumors that Volk's scared. He's running to a new division. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think, that's a little bit of a reach. But hey, if you're Arnold Allen, you get that win. Why not start saying it from the mountaintops, man?
We know better than to disrespect the champion, whose name is Alexander Volkanovski. But either way, let's flip the scenario. Calvin Kattar gets a definitive win over Arnold Allen. He's able to get a high-level victory here. Clearly, it's not the same opportunity for both men. Calvin Kattar shouldn't automatically be the next guy fighting for a title, but where does this put him in that top 5 of the division?
Unfortunately for Calvin Kattar, this doesn't do much for him, man. I still feel like he's sitting in that 2 to 3, that 4 level fighter. He might bump up a spot or two, but I don't even think they put him above number 2, number 3.
Okay, that's fair. And I guess at this point, literally all that's left is just to find out about the fight. So let's talk the numbers. I like that it's minus 105 Kattar, minus 115 Allen. I'm glad there's not some major discrepancy in the money line because this is going to be a close fight, right? Interesting that Allen gets the little bit of the nod in terms of being a slight favorite, but what's more interesting to me is this. Decision prop for Arnold Allen, plus 185, plus 225 for Calvin Kattar. However, let's take this one into consideration. Plus 285 for the TKO for Calvin Kattar, plus 475 TKO for Arnold Allen. Odds makers are clearly saying if it goes to 5-round decision, even though the man's never fought 5 rounds, it goes Arnold Allen. Now, if we're talking about a finish, we're thinking Calvin Kattar, but we could also see him winning a decision. Read into what this prop bet line tells you, man. Like, tell me about how this resonates with you, and what do you think is going to be the most effective prop bet to pick for either of the fighters?
Well, for either of the fighters, man, I think it does have to go down. If you're looking to bet on Calvin Kattar, and I see why it's a plus 285 TKO for Calvin Kattar, there you got to respect the hands of the boxing, man. You got to respect Calvin Kattar. He's coming out. He's going to be throwing knuckles all day long, and that's why the odds makers have him at a plus 285 for that knockout. But also for that decision, that plus 225 decision, don't sleep on that. I feel like that's a very valuable pick right there if you're betting on the Calvin Kattar side. But at least for me, Arnold Allen, that's who I'm rocking with on this one, man. And I am also going with the untested, the 5-round club, man. His first fight in the 5-round club, and this dude's going to be pushing all the way to the end. I'm going decision. I'm rocking with that plus 185. I think it's going to be very hard to put away Calvin Kattar, but I do think Arnold Allen's going to be able to control it, put the foot on the gas pedal and get things going. What about you, Derek? Where do you see the money as being most lucrative? And then who do you got? What are you putting on?
So I'm going to be honest with you right here. I do like the value of the Arnold Allen decision here, especially if we could rack up some points early. Do I think that's the thing that you need to be betting on? Honestly, not really. I would rather take the minus 115 Arnold Allen than I would take the plus 185 for the decision, personally. Now, I'm going to go into the different camp. I'm going to roll with the experience of the Calvin Kattar here. I'm going to roll with the forward pressure, but more important than the forward pressure and any of that, it's the underrated grappling, and it's the ability to be a durable man, right? Even though you've been through the wars, Calvin Kattar is very durable. He has fantastic footwork, and he switches it up on you, right? So I just want to say Calvin Kattar, Plus 285 for the TKO is not a bad bet to take. However, I will also rock with the decision plus 225 for Calvin Kattar. I'm taking the over, clearly, which is 2.5 rounds. AJ, I just want to let you know it's a 5-round fight, over and under 2.5 rounds here. But more importantly than that, I want to give one quick recall, and then let's move on to the co-main event. This is the recall. Arnold Allen fights Dan Hooker in his last fight. Arnold Allen gets rocked by Dan Hooker, recovers, goes on the offensive, puts Dan Hooker out. Let's not forget, Dan Hooker, who the Hangman is a legit bad man right there, right? He walked him down, made him uncomfortable, and took him off of his rhythm and hurt him immediately. That's Dan Hooker. Calvin Kattar, come on, brother. I'm just saying. I'm gonna leave that for what it's worth, but it's something to think about, folks. I got Kattar. My man AJ got Arnold Allen. I'm going decision. He's going decision, and that's all you need to see right there. Over 2.5 rounds, take it to the bank, and book it. Book it, folks. All right, let's move on to this co-main event, brother. Tim the Dirty Bird Means, a New Mexico favorite, if you will, versus Max Payne Griffin, one of the men who I think has arguably one of the greatest nicknames in the UFC, if not MMA, right? Let's talk about it here, man. Tim Means coming off of a bad loss to Kevin Holland in a fight that I picked for Tim Means. I thought Tim Means would be able to get it done. But I think that here's one thing that we're starting to realize here, man. Tim Means is clearly aging in the fight game, right? This is going to be the man's near all. He's coming up on 50 fights. That's the entire point here. He's like on the wrong side of 45 fights, right? Round 1, he comes out strong. The latter half of round 2 and round 3, it's a different story. Max Payne Griffin is a cardio guy, right? Power, but volume and cardio. How can Tim Means win this fight?
Whoo, man. Make it ugly. Put Griffin on his back. Make this one a classic Dirty Bird scrap right here. Because other than that, man, this is going to be a very hard road to toe for Tim Means going into this fight. Like you said, Derek, a New Mexico favorite, and you could barely see, nonetheless, I got Bears are sleeping right there, but you could see the New Mexico flag, so I'm always trying to rep whenever we can, man, but this one is a hard fight against Max Griffin, who, like you said, man, Max Payne Griffin is an absolute dog in there, but if you're Tim Means, put him on his back, make him hurt, make him dizzy, get him not really thinking, put him on some ice skates, see where you're going. What do you think? Yeah. How does Tim Means get this done?
Well, just to be clear, I'm not taking a shot at Tim Means' age by any means if it was conveyed that way. It's really more the miles, man. You know what I mean? This dude's got over 45 fights. He's only 2 years older than Max Griffin. Max Griffin don't even got 30 fights, right? So this is kind of what I'm saying here. The way that Tim Means makes this fight interesting, at least, right? You got to keep up the cardio, man. You have to be able to deliver a pace and be able to sit on that pace and make sure that you can go 3 rounds with that pace. I honestly find it very difficult to see Tim Means winning this fight in any capacity if you're not able to keep Max Griffin on his back foot and just make it dirty, make it ugly, and bring out that blue-collar style Tim Means is most known for and loved for. But then you got the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation here, AJ, is that Max Griffin being a minus 175 favorite, yeah, you lost to Neil Magny in your last fight. You lost a split decision that he was very upset, and a lot of people think that Max Griffin got the job done. But then you're also coming off of a a TKO win over Ramiz Brahimaj, right, where you sliced the man's ear off. You beat Carlos Condit in a decision. You knocked him down. You're one of the only men in his career to be able to actually knock down Carlos Condit. And now you're just looking to get back on track, man. So in his head, he could be on a 4-fight win streak in his head. So you have confidence going along with pace, going along with strong kickboxing, going along with the clinch work. I just think that if this goes longer than a round and a half, Max Griffin, this is his fight to win. Tim Means can get it done early. Anybody has a puncher's chance. But at the end of the day, man, it's just like if you're a Tim Means, do you attack it on the feet? Do you try to go to the ground? What's the best path to victory for a Dirty Bird here?
You might call me crazy, Derek, but think about it. Playing tag, man. Get Max Griffin to start playing tag. I tag you once, you try to hit me. I hit you once, you try to hit me. You're just going back, trading back and forth. I think that fight right there favors the Dirty Bird. Because if I'm thinking a cardio contest against Max Griffin, man, that sounds real. That I wouldn't bet on it. That sounds really, really hard. But in a playground tag, we might see a little mix-up right there. I think if you're Tim Means, that's what we're going for.
Absolutely, man. So this should be a fun affair. I don't know if this is going to last the distance, folks. But I do like that minus 175 for a Max Griffin because I can honestly see anything come out the woodworks, man. I could see a submission come out the woodworks for Max Griffin, honestly. Kevin Holland style, where it just kind of presents itself and you just jump on it, right? But then again, Tim Means, you're right, man. 19 knockouts in his career. Play tag with him. Anybody got a puncher's chance? Let's talk these props, all right? they're not really giving Tim Means a shot. They're saying, yeah, you might be able to win a decision, but it's like plus 300 odds right there. Plus 575 for the TKO. I mean, Max Griffin, they're thinking that the man gets the decision win. And I think that's possible, right? What do you think about the finish? What do you think about the plus 275, the TKO finish for Max Griffin?
It was calling my name, Derek. It was calling my name while I was looking at it, and I think in that kind of style of fight too, you get Tim Means hurt. I can see the ref stepping in a little bit, being a little bit, and again, I don't want to clown the age of Tim Means, but the miles on the man, I could see a ref stepping in for that one.
I could too, and that's the problem that I have here, man, because even though I could see it, I think that that's not the reality of the situation. Tim Means hasn't been finished since 2019, and it was against Nico Price. You know what I'm saying? So Max Griffin is a bad man, but you fought Daniel Rodriguez, Thiago Alves, Mike Perry, Laureano Staropoli, Nicholas Dalby, Kevin Holland. You didn't get knocked out by any of those guys. I'm not saying Max Griffin isn't to the caliber of those guys, because he absolutely is, but it's just like, come on, bro. So it looks like we're both in kind of a consensus here, more or less, right? You're liking the Max Griffin points?
I'm liking Max Griffin points, man.
Okay. And if we're looking at that, once again, that's a plus 140 comeback for Max Griffin right there. I think he gets the job done. And if we're looking at the points, the over and under is 2.5 rounds, minus 155 for the over. Let's rock with the odds makers right there, and let's take that one. No disrespect to the Dirty Bird. Tim Means, a legend forever in our hearts, but at the end of the day, this is the fight game. And I'm not even going to say the new generation, because Max Griffin is not a new fighter whatsoever, but he's a man who's got a little more momentum on his side right there. We like Max Payne Griffin right there. All right, brother. Now, this next fight is going to be really interesting here, AJ, and this is going to be one time where I'm going to actually just say it off the bat. I'm a little surprised that Waldo Cortes-Acosta, right, a man who came into the Dana White Contender Series, he was like a minus 475 favorite, like biggest favorite, betting favorite at least on the card. He fights a decent heavyweight, right? He ends up getting the finish win, but it wasn't the most inspiring victory in the world. He showed off his speed, showed off his just his kickboxing capabilities, but he also showed Dusko Todorovic prior past trend in a past life. Not the current Dusko, but a past life Dusko Todorovic, where you throw a big clubbing shot and you keep your chin sky high, right? We don't want to see that. We know Jared Vanderaa also has a similar tendency, but he's a little more. He ultimately comes in, makes his UFC debut, and he's a minus 220 favorite against a Jared Vanderaa. A Jared Vanderaa where, if we're looking at it, right, yeah, he's 12-9. He's approaching 500 in his career. Honestly, he's on a 4-fight losing streak, and he hasn't won a fight since, 2021 against Justin Tafa. But this is a man who just came off of a streak of fighters named Alexander Romanov, Andrei Arlovski, Alexei Oleinik, and Chase Sherman. AJ, brother, how does a man with this resume, yeah, you have losses on all of those, but with this resume, and you also fought a Sergey Spivak, let's not forget, right? How does he come in as an underdog here against a man who has not even remotely close to this level of experience? Like, what do you think?
I think Jared Vanderaa is back there sleeping with somebody's wife, Derek, because I have no idea, man. This dude has fought. I mean, if you just think of like fighters in the UFC, heavyweights that have kind of flown under the radar but been around for years and years and years. I mean, just look how Vanderaa. I don't even know. Yeah. He's been fighting since 2012 in the UFC, since about 2019, maybe even a little before that. But either way, this dude, Vanderaa, has fought the who's who. You said just the last four, Derek. Romanov to Arlovski to Oleinik, Sherman, Spivak. I mean, this dude has fought as many UFC fighters as you line up in a bar. Nobody wants to fight these guys, but Jared Vanderaa is always game and always down. But now he's fighting the up and comers, man. And I really think Jared Vanderaa did something to piss somebody off so bad that you're just lining them up against killers. And then it's like, all right, bro, we're sending you out to pasture. Here's this young dude with some slick boxing, slick head movement. This dude can knock people out. Good luck.
As much as I'd love to buy into that, because it's a fun theory, man. It's definitely a fun theory. I'd love to buy into it. I just think at the end of the day, man, 4 losses in a row, they say if you don't fight the new young guns, man, this is your shot to prove it. We've done the same thing to the Andrei Arlovskis of the world, and he's been able to just keep up with the young guns, man. You got to get a win on the board, right? This is what it comes down to, man. I'm going to keep this short and sweet because this is a heavyweight matchup, which I honestly think is the likelihood of this going the distance is going to be a tough one, right? Vanderaa, great performance against Chase Sherman in his last fight until he got knocked out, right? But it was a back and forth. Just kind of stick him up. What's up? You trade, I trade, 1 for 1, right? Waldo Cortes-Acosta, this is a dude who is okay with going backwards. I think Jared Vanderaa can exploit that a little bit. I think that he can use that erratic movement to set up some good shots the same way that he did to a Chase Sherman, who's also a very skilled fighter. But this is what it comes down to at the end of the day, man. One of these dudes is going to get caught because neither of these dudes have phenomenal defense. Both of themselves leave themselves open after throwing. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. But more importantly than that, man, you have a back against the wall and a Jared Vanderaa and a dude who's looking to make a statement against Acosta. Somebody's going to sleep. Am I right or am I wrong there?
You're right, Derek. Somebody is taking a nap right here. It's just going to be the first one who jumps a little bit off the game plan. Fortunately, I think Vanderaa, he's been in there enough to have the game plan solidified. I'm just interested to see how Cortes-Acosta handles the pressure.
And this is the problem, right? Vanderaa literally fought a very similar opponent in his last fight in Chase Sherman, Acosta's going to have the speed advantage, right? Power, I'm going to give that to Vanderaa every single time. But in terms of the speed and the terms of the pure boxing, I think Cortes-Acosta just looks a little sharper. At least that's how he looks, right? I'm like short and sweet, man. Plus 150 TKO for Acosta. I got to roll that way. But here's the reason why. I just think that Vanderaa is going to get picked apart by that speed. I think that's going to be the only problem. I think if Vanderaa lands, Acosta goes out. And it's as simple as that. So I'm rolling with Acosta, but I don't feel good about it. And even though the odds indicate minus 220 favorite and you should be laying all the money on him, and you know, Vanderaa hasn't been able to quite put the pieces together the way that we'd like him to, I do not feel good about picking Cortes-Acosta. I just think that's going to be the most logical thing to do in terms of the competition that we're in right here. What is your rebuttal on that?
That's interesting that we're both going logical here, Derek, because I felt the exact same way last night when I was sending you the picks, man. I just think for some reason, if there's ever a live dog on this card right here, it's Jared Vanderaa. For some reason, these old vets could just pull things out of nowhere. When the young dudes come in, they have the big stage jitters. That being said, man, I am going with the Cortes-Acosta, and I'm also rocking with that knockout. I'm thinking early round 2, man, but like I said, like you said, Derek, I don't feel good about it. I do think Vanderaa is one of the biggest live dogs on this card, and I think he is a crafty veteran that could get it done. I'm still rocking with logic here, and I'm going with Cortes-Acosta, man.
Absolutely, and I'm taking the under as well. I'm thinking late round 1 personally, or early round 2, but either one will be on par. The over and under is 2.5 rounds. Minus 180 for the under, plus 150 for the over. Interesting. So once again, folks, just for the sake of transparency, this is a fight where I would hedge Jared Vanderaa, and I would take not any of the props, plus 180 money line, throw a little bit to hedge this one. I like Acosta overall, the logical, but there's something deep down inside that says Vanderaa, this is a very winnable fight for him. You know what I mean? But that's your heavyweight scrap for the main card. Now, AJ, man, I'm actually a little sad to talk about this next bout right here, but this is an interesting one. You have Josh Fremd, man. Came out of LFA so hot, right? Like so much hype behind him. Yeah, you lost to the Gregory Rodriguez's of the world. Yeah, it took you a little work to get to the UFC. You come in, you make your debut against Fluffy Hernandez, and you get ragdolled. Oh, I hate to see it. But then you got a Tresen Gore, who was supposed to win the Ultimate Fighter. He was everybody's darling, the real champion of the Ultimate Fighter, until Brian Battle comes in and says, who? You're doing what? I'm the champ. Let me show you what's up. Puts it on him. And Gore just hasn't been able to put it together yet, man. We don't know what it is. We know he has all the skill in the world. So we're dealing with two fighters who just need to put the puzzle pieces together to be able to put that performance in the octagon here. My question to you here, AJ, is given the stylistic matchup, right? You have a technical striker who's really more of a grappler in Fremd, right? And then you got a nasty Muay Thai kickboxing striker in a Tresen Gore who can grapple a little bit, but has trigger pulling issues here, right? Like the volume isn't there. Who automatically and just like immediately when you look at that type of matchup, who has the upper hand?
For me, man, Fremd. I think just the performance that Fremd has had in his previous fight career versus what we've seen Tresen Gore do. And don't get me wrong, Derek, I was a big Tresen Gore fan the entire show. It's just hard to watch him not be able to pull that trigger, kind of have that same excuse me, that Tyrone Woodley mindset of I'm gonna relax and then attack and throw big punches. I think Fremd can kind of put things better, man. Things can flow a little bit better right there. I agree with you. I think this is one of those fights where it's going to be whoever can put the puzzle pieces together better, faster, is going to be the better fighter in their longevity in their career. And I think that fighter's Fremd, man. I think the puzzle pieces are going to be laying in his court right there. What about you?
Well, it's tough because when I was looking at this matchup, immediately I said Josh Fremd. I like him here. I think that he's going to be a little bit of a, I think he'll just have the upper hand in terms of the pace he'll be able to put on, the style in which he's going to fight, where there could be a lot of clinch work, a lot of trying to take the back, a lot of just getting Tresean Gore down to the ground and taking away that explosiveness, right? But at the same token, man, that's everything that makes Tresean Gore great and makes him special, is that all it takes is one. Just one opportunity where he lets it go and doesn't care anymore, and he can put you out. But he can also get put out too, because that's kind of what happened in his last fight, right? You fought a Cody Brundage, which is also a little unfair because Cody Brundage is like a training partner of Josh Fremd, so you have a little like extra inside information. But yeah, you got knocked out by Brundage in your last fight. You lost the decision to battle in a fight where you had great moments. You just couldn't put it together to complete 3 rounds. I like Fremd here, man. But I do think there's a little bit piece inside of me that if Tresean Gore were to win this fight, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? It's kind of the tale of the story for this entire card, really. I feel like there's a lot of fights where it's like, but I could see how this guy could win, but the likelihood is Fremd probably gets it done. The question is, how does he get it done? And I want to go back to 2 fights, right? Bruno Oliveira against Josh Fremd. Caught him with, I think, a check left hook, man. Put him out. Hammer fist, follow up. Got the job done, right? Gregory Rodriguez, on the other hand, though, right? He's fighting that fight, and Rodriguez walked him down, put him back against the cage, and just put the pressure on him until he couldn't take it anymore. Can Tresean Gore replicate that Gregory Rodriguez type performance and not get caught on the other end like he did to, like Josh Fremd did to Bruno Oliveira?
I mean, on paper, yes, and I think that's what kind of makes this fight very exciting for me. As the fight fan in me, I'm rooting for Tresean Gore here, but I just think Josh Fremd, the betting man in me, it feels like he can get it done a little bit better, because I agree, man. I think Tresean Gore has all the right ingredients, mixture, style-wise, that it could be that Gregory Rodriguez knockout that you're talking about, man. Walking somebody down, making them uncomfortable, putting them back against, and then letting your fist do the talking and letting, timing really speak right there. I think that Tresean Gore can do that, but can he put all that mojo together is the hardest part that we haven't seen proved yet, and that's why I'm rocking with Fremd on this one, man.
Why do you think that Fremd, his TKO prop, plus 175 is greater than his decision prop at plus 235?
I think the fluidity that Fremd presents instead of that kind of, and I think that's what makes Tresean Gore good, that energetic kind of twitchy style, that Muay Thai that is there, doesn't really give a lot of security to the bettors, where I think that Fremd, that fluidity, that style, that flow that Fremd presents makes it a little bit more appealing to the eye, and that's why I think the TKO prop is a little bit better. Do you see something different? Are you with me?
You know what? I see something a little bit different, man. I don't think that he's going to be able to get the TKO finish on a Tresean Gore here, man. I like a decision. I like a dirty, you really just put it on his ass, clinch work, drag him down, mat returns, back and forth. I like that. Tresean Gore having his moments where he maybe hurts a Fremd, maybe rocks him a good time, and you have to clinch back up and really hold him down. I see that type of performance here. I'm going to be honest with you. Tresean Gore coming off of back-to-back losses. This is a back-against-the-wall type situation. He just talked about it, and I don't even want to get into detail, but he talked about a family situation where a loved one had to watch them go through some medical procedures due to, some diseases and stuff. Very emotional. I think this dude's going to bring it. I just think Fremd is going to have the upper hand. He's going to be like one step ahead the whole time. I'm going with the decision for Josh Fremd. Over and under is 2.5 rounds here, AJ. But I guess I take it back. Over and under is 1.5 rounds here. The question becomes, because you said TKO Fremd, right? At what stage of the game does he do it?
This has been a hard one because I've been jumping back and forth, decision versus TKO. I am going to rock with the TKO, and I'm actually going to do it late round 1. I think that kind of mojo, that energy is that Tresean Gore is going to be fighting with might lead to something different for the Fremd side, man. I'm going Fremd TKO round 1.
Absolutely, man. I just say if losses are rough, man, but you can never tell about the mental of a fighter. So this is going to be a fun fight. This is kind of like my main event here, honestly. But of course, the main event, the real main event. That's a fantastic one too. But then you got another one that I could say is like my main event right here, brother. You want to talk about take MMA out the picture. Let's just talk about kickboxing, right? Dustin, Jacoby versus... we got Bangkok ready. Khalil, which Khalil we got right here, man? We got the one that's coming off of back-to-back knockout victories, the Muay Thai specialist. Listen, this is going to be a fun fight, man. This is going to be such a fun fight, but I got a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. What makes this fight here, AJ? And I don't want to be out of pocket here. What makes this fight against Khalil Rountree for Dustin Jacoby different than his last fight against Da and Jung?
What makes it bigger?
What makes it different?
What makes it different? That's a good question right there, Derek. That's a little harder of a question to answer, man, because you're looking kickboxing. Maybe durability. Da Un Jung, very durable fighter right there, but also, I mean, both of these fighters are durable, man. This is a hard one. What do you think?
Well, I think it's a very similar fight, honestly, bro. I think both Da Un Jung and Khalil Rountree possess that FU power that if they touch you, it's game over, right? I think that if you get into a war, Dustin Jacoby is going to be the more technical fighter. Again, I mean, both opponents, right? But when it comes down to pure explosiveness and being able to be athletic, I think Khalil Rountree has the edge that a Da Un Jung wasn't able to kind of bring to the table. So that's what makes it interesting. I don't know, man. This is really tough because this is a fight where I could see Khalil Rountree at any given point of this fight. All it takes is one, and he could really put Jacoby's lights out. But this is a Dustin Jacoby who is literally a former Glory kickboxing veteran, right? This is a dude who technically, as a kickboxer, when there's no threat of a takedown coming his way, can do horrible, despicable, nasty things to you. So that's the question. Does Khalil Rountree sit here and just purely kickbox with Dustin Jacoby like we've basically seen him do in all his other fights?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the caveat you just put, Derek. What we've seen him do in every other fight, it's hard. It's like, I want to say no. I want to say that Khalil Rountree is going to be smart to go about it, shoot, start mixing things up on the feet, and then shoot, get to the ground, get Jacoby in a place where he doesn't want to be. But then what happens with every single other fight we've seen Khalil Rountree do, man, he's down to play tag. He's down to get in a scrap like that. And I agree with you. Dustin Jacoby is the more technical fighter. Now, that being said, the more technical fighter doesn't always win in those crazy battles. Just more often than not, the counter puncher usually has the best shot. So it's this one's going to be fun. I can see why they put this one to the front of the card, man, to really, Derek, really hype everybody up, man. This one's going to be a really fun fight. If this one stays kickboxing, I think it's Dustin Jacoby's game. Now, when we start mixing it in, wrestling, do you see Dustin Jacoby also shooting for anything here? Or is it just going to be Khalil that has the option to shoot?
Well, I mean, Rountree will always have the option to shoot, but here's the thing: is like, look at the last couple of people that have fought a Dustin Jacoby. It's been the Ion Cutelabas, right, where we saw a lot of takedowns in that one, but we saw Dustin Jacoby able to prevail and actually bring in a draw in that one. We saw him fight Max Griffin, kind of same situation. Darren Stewart, right? Another dude who loves to clinch up and loves to wrestle. And then you got the John Allens, the Michael Alexichuks, and the Da Un Jungs. And so you fought striker basically from that point. So I think that regardless of what it is, Dustin Jacoby, unfortunately for Khalil Rountree, has fought those guys, right? Like those guys that they're all big, scary guys, man, in this division, the light heavyweight division. But for a Khalil Rountree, let's flip it there. If Dustin Jacoby wants to get a little, I was gonna say freaky. That's not even nearly the word that I want to use. Crafty. I don't know the word. But he wants to mix it up. You know what I'm saying? And just do some unorthodox type shit. Look at the dudes who Khalil Rountree has fought recently. Carl Roberson, right, who just wasn't big enough for the division, clearly, or for this fight specifically. Modestas Bukauskas, who got his fucking knee kicked in. Marcin Prochnio, Ion Cutelaba, Eric Anders, Johnny Walker, Gohan Saki, Michael Alexichuk. So there's some similar guys. Paul Craigs, right? Tyson Pedro, Andrew Sanchez. It's just not the same guys, man. It's just a different level. So it's going to be interesting. We can't predict the future. I don't think Khalil Rountree would shoot. I don't know why he would shoot against a Dustin Jacoby, because if you get sprawled on and you miss that takedown, your night's probably over. So how does it get done here, AJ? Are one of these guys going to bed, or are we going to see a decision?
Ooh, man, I'm rocking TKO, man. I'm going with that plus 165 for Dustin Jacoby. Yeah. If this one goes decision, some went wrong, man. Somebody's hurt, somebody's fighting hurt, somebody, I don't know. This one, somebody's going to sleep is what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm thinking is going to happen, man. What about you?
It sounds so boring, man, but yeah, Dustin Jacoby by decision. TKO. What am I talking about here? I don't know why I was thinking decision. Yeah, TKO, Dustin Jacoby. I think that this is going to be one of those. I think it's going to be later on in the fight, though. I don't think this is going to be like some quick boom, bang, bing, 30 seconds in, done. I think it's going to be they traded some shots. Both dudes have been rocked a little bit, and Dustin Jacoby just has the finesse in him, man, to just get that little extra something, man. Because if you look at it, Khalil Rountree, only time he's ever been knocked out in his career. Yeah, in his career, man. Or actually 2 times. It was against Johnny Walker, and it was against the Jan Kutalabas, right? Now, let's have some similarities. Dustin Jacoby, is he this big monstrous dude? No, but he knows how to place a shot, bro. He knows how to place a shot, and he knows how to, really get it done with the striking. I like it there, but I don't. This is another one where I feel good about it, but I don't, because gun to your head right now. I grabbed you, I got a gun to your head, and I'm going to throw you off a cliff all at the same time right here. Khalil Rountree, knockout, the percentage likelihood that he actually can just knock out Dustin Jacoby one-hitter quitter. What is it?
Percentage? Man, I'd say something like 83.
Yeah. I mean, I'd go higher. I'd say like 90%, bro. Like, he just lands one and this fight is over. So it's like Dustin Jacoby logically should win the fight. Khalil Rountree can make this very interesting, but on top of making it interesting, could literally finish it at any given point in the fight. So even though Jacoby has that FU power, it's not the same thing as Khalil Rountree. I don't feel good about it, but I like the ranked guy, number 13, Dustin Jacoby, man. But Rountree, if he puts it together this one and he finishes a Jacoby, yeah, I mean, listen, we're feeding this man to some real killers at this point. You have to. You have no other choice, right? So aside from that, because we already know we're taking plus 165, we're taking the TKO. Both of us are taking, it looks like the under, because the under is 2.5 rounds here. Once again, minus 160 for the under, plus 130 for the over. Even though we know that, let's not go logic. Let's not go betting. Let's not go competition. In your heart, who do you want to win?
Woo, Khalil, man. I want to see Khalil get it done.
I do too.
And yeah, I was gonna say, you can tell the competition's getting close, folks. You can tell there's some gold on the line, because both Derick and I are starting to go with logic over here instead of who we want to win. And this is another one, man, where I'm going with logic, but I want to see Khalil Rountree win this fight.
And this is another one that I would hedge plus 135 Khalil Rountree Jr. 2 hedges on this card, folks. That's how you know it's going to be a fun, stacked event. But with that being said, that is your main card, folks. So I just got to give you a friendly reminder. You stuck around to this point. We just gave you the goods, all the research that we've done throughout the week, all the film that we've watched. If you haven't subscribed yet, you absolutely should right now. And on top of that, go hit up your friends and let them know to share the show with their friends, so we can get this entire fight community centered around your favorite fighters' favorite fight show, Bloody Water Podcast. You dig what time it is. All right, my man, AJ, brother, let's hit him with the bet sheet, man. So this is what we're rocking with today, folks. Looks like the only different pick that me and AJ have is actually the main event, the one that counts the most. I'm rocking with Calvin Kattar. He's rocking with Arnold Allen. All the rest of the picks are the same. Max Griffin, Waldo Cortes-Acosta, Josh Fremd, and Dustin Jacoby round out your main card for UFC Vegas 63, the aftermath of UFC 280, when a new champion was crowned in the lightweight division. But there's a bunch of other really good fights here. So now let's talk about some sleepers, brother. Let's get it.
Time for some fight night.
If you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
All right, my man. So you know what time it is. This is the time when you and your buddies head on over to the bar, the TV's playing, and your sleeper's rolling up, and you got to give them the 30-second pitch on why they need to watch this fight. Folks, this is our pitch to you on why these bouts that we're about to name right now, these are the ones that you got to watch. And my man AJ is going to kick us off, my man. So you have a fun one. You have an interesting one. Talk about it, brother. What's your sleeper?
Ooh, I got an interesting one, Derick, and it's coming right from the flyweight division, man. I got a couple younger as far as media presence, but a couple skinny dudes, a couple 125ers in here that are going to be throwing hands, man. I'm going Cody Durden versus Carlos Mota. And the reason why I picked this fight, man, knockout city. I mean, you can go ahead, look at Cody Durden. If you just look at his last one, knocked out over JP Bays. And I'm gonna just list them all off for you. This dude has a bunch of knockouts on top of his fight career. Also a couple decisions. So this dude knows how to get it done. But if you're also looking for knockouts, man, you're talking about Carlos Mota, Tazil, however you say his nickname. But either way, man, this dude coming in heavy, big, heavy hands, big, heavy left hook, man. This dude is going to be bringing the fight consistently. You can see a lot of those last 3 fights, all for titles, all out of the LFA, a couple different areas right there. But either way, man, Carlos Mota is the real deal. Both of these dudes are going to be coming in looking to prove themselves as real deal fighters in the UFC, going to be hunting knockouts, and that's what makes me excited for this fight, man. I'm calling it right now, Knockout City. Second fight of the night, I believe. Second fight of the night. It's going to be a fun one. Derick, who's your sleeper and why?
Well, I'll tell you, that is going to be a fun one right there. Flyweight to 125 pounds. You got violence in store right here. And to be completely frank with all of you guys, we're going to do a little bit of a super, super condensed quick prelim pour over after this. There wasn't a lot to choose from. this week. You know what I mean? AJ snagged a really good one, and I was kind of left just searching, like, what's going to be the one that can deliver some real violence? And the one that I came across can end in a couple different ways, right? But I think it's going to be impactful for this reason. So I'm talking about a very, very interesting middleweight matchup between Ugly Man Joe Holmes and the Iron Turtle, Jun Young Park, excuse me. Let me put some respect on my man's name. So you have clearly a frame discrepancy right here. 6'4", 80-inch reach for Ugly Man Joe Holmes, 5'10", 73-inch reach for the Iron Turtle. Now, lest we forget, the Iron Turtle in his last bout fought Eric Anders, which was a very grappling intensive, for whatever reason, matchup, right? But Jun Young Park edged out the decision. He was able to do just enough to get the win. Got knocked out by Gregory Rodriguez in his one before that, which was a barn burning back and forth. But look at these other wins. Marc-Andre Barriault, the power bar, John Phillips, Tafon the Don Nchukwi. The Iron Turtle can get it done whether it's in his boxing, in his clinch work, or in his grappling. Now, Ugly Man Joe Holmes, on the other hand, obviously he's got the fantastic frame, coming off of a submission win against Amedovski, right? Nasty, nasty win right there where he hit him with that big step-in knee, dropped him. Lost to Jamie Pickett, the Nightwolf, before that, but this is what it is at the end of the day, man. You have a dude who has some submission chops in a Joseph Holmes, so does Jun Young Park. These dudes both can knock each other out, but the frame is what's going to make this fight very interesting. The longness of Joe Holmes, can it overcome the kind of tiny frame of a Jun Young Park, who packs a lot of muscle and a lot of power? That's yet to be seen. I see this either ending in a knockout or a submission. Clearly, I'm expecting a finish. I'm calling for violence right here, but I think someone's going to have to will it out because this isn't. Listen, man, you can't come into these fights. AJ, you can't come into these fights right here with such a large frame discrepancy and just cruise out a decision win unless you're holding someone down the whole time. I don't see that being the case. Should be a fun one, but I mean, come on, let's admit, man, there wasn't too much to choose from on this prelim card. What do you think?
I agree, Derek. Not a lot to choose from, but a lot of very interesting fights, man. And I'm excited to see how Joe Holmes performs against somebody who's as durable as Jun Young Park, man, because it's going to be very hard to put him away. But like you said, if you're coming in with that kind of frame discrepancy, you got to put on a show, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that being said, folks, let's talk about a little bit. A couple of prelims, man. We ain't got much to talk about, but we're going to talk about a couple of them. All right, so let me set the table for us right here. And let me just pull up the screen so we can get everything according. Boom. All right, my man. So first off, featured prelim. AJ, we got to talk about it, my man. You have Phil Hawes, right, versus Roman Dolidze. This is going to be a very intriguing matchup because both of these dudes have immense power. I'm just making the box a little bit bigger. Sorry, folks. All right. So yeah, both these dudes have immense power, right? Phil Hawes, Roman Dolidze. Both of these dudes can grapple their ass off. At the end of the day, I think it's whoever really gets touched cleanly on the chin first loses. So who do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, I think it's whoever gets touched cleanly and whoever doesn't just absolutely dump the gas tank. Man, this one's a very hard one to choose. I want Dolidze to win. I think Haas can get it done, but this one personally, man, this one's a stay away. This one's a very close fight for me. Who do you got?
This has all the makings of a split decision, or if it doesn't get finished, a split decision. I like Haas here, but I can see a million different reasons, especially the way Dolidze fights as of late. I could see him winning this, not being a problem whatsoever. Interesting one right here. Andrei Arlovski versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima, man. Arlovski, if he can keep it on the feet, I think he can have a lot of success here, even though Rogerio de Lima has shown some very, very... he got pop in his shot, let's just say that, man. But if de Lima gets Arlovski on the ground, I can see a TKO or a submission here. Even though Arlovski has been submitted like twice in his illustrious 50-plus fight career, I could see something bad happening. Who do you like here?
Yeah, I like Arlovski, man, but I think if de Lima can make this one a dirty dog fight, he stands a lot better of a chance at really mixing things up there. But I'm rolling with the pit bull here.
That's loyalty and respect from my man right there. Let's go. All right, man. And then we got this is really the interesting one right here. Chase Hooper versus Steve Garcia. Chase Hooper looked a lot better in his last matchup. And let me actually pull up who he fought specifically, just so we're on the same page. Yes, Felipe Colares, right? Knocked him out. He got the finish right here in a very, very impressive win after losing to, Steve Peterson, or whatever his first name is, Peterson. He lost the decision there where literally... dude just got big boyed. He got grown man. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I'm a grown-ass man. I'm going to put it on this little-ass kid. Steve Garcia, I feel like, can replicate that. I think he can. I definitely think he can, man. So it's going to be interesting. Can Chase Hooper really show he has the chops to take a power puncher like a Steve Garcia and take away his offense, man, and turn this into a jiu-jitsu, grappling type fight. What do you think?
Yeah, no, this is gonna be a talking point for Chase Hooper his entire career, man. Is if this dude is gonna ever be the grown man in the situation. It's hard being a nice guy in the fight game, man. And Chase Hooper is here to prove if he's a real deal or not. I'm interested to see because I agree. I think Steve Garcia has a lot of the power, but can Chase Hooper land something sneaky? Get him in there, twist him up a little bit. We're gonna see.
And this dude's 23 years old, bro. 23. That's just the point that I'm making, is that he still has, like, you got to grow into your body, man. Because you got a 30-year-old Steve Garcia right here from Jackson and Wink MMA who's ready to bring some ruckus. So that's all I'm saying. And then we already talked the Durden fight. And the last one that I have right here is Christian Rodriguez versus Joshua Weems. AJ, I'm not going to lie to you. This is the one matchup because they got re-added late on this card. I have not done too much film study on. Is there anything you could tell us about this matchup?
Yeah, man, I was looking at Weems earlier, man. There's not a lot going on here as far as notoriety, but this dude Weems, he is a very dangerous submission artist. It's going to be interesting to see what he's able to do against Rodriguez. I full clarity too, Derek. Haven't really done much as far as look up on Rodriguez. But, I mean, if the UFC has something on him, it's going to be interesting. Absolutely. Oh, it looks like, he lost his UFC debut to Pierce, JP3, JSP.
Oh yeah, JSP, my boy.
JSP, man. Yeah. So this dude Christian Rodriguez, he can get it done. Weems is, like I said, he's the submission specialist. I'm kind of leading towards Rodriguez on this one, just because we'll see what goes down. This one's another one, like you said, not too much research. What do you think?
I have nothing. I don't know too much. So I'm going to leave it to the resident expert on this one, my man, AJ. And that will round out our prelim pour-over right there, folks. Sorry. No, it's not our fault, honestly. It's the UFC when they, bouts get scrapped and they re-add them super late into the week, and it's already too late by that point. So talk about a show. That was a show right there for you on the aftermath of UFC 280. And, folks, I got to show you one more time. I'm going to solo out real quick, AJ. We fighting for something that matters here, folks. And you see, I want to let you know, I'm holding it like this, and I'm not throwing it over my shoulder because this ain't my strap. Like, if we could have this in an independent third party, just like in a box, or not in a box, like a glass box somewhere, posted up, that's where it needs to be, laser beam, so nobody could steal it or anything like that. But I want to let you know, we're fighting for something. Bloody Water Podcast 2022, undisputed champion right there. I want this belt incredibly bad. You don't even know. But my man AJ is vying for it too. So that's why every single week, we have to, unfortunately, AJ, make tough decisions and pick against fighters that we want to win. So if you're watching this, no love lost. I just want to win that belt. You already dig what time it is. AJ, any last words before we get up out of here?
Folks, it's strap season, so like Derek said, man, we're betting over here a couple different ways, but either way, man, regardless, we're trying to win y'all some money, so make sure you share the show with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already, and like Derek said, if you're watching this show, fighters, we're not over here stepping on anybody's toes. We love all you, respect it all. We're just trying to win some money and trying to win that gold belt. You know, like I said, I got a place right over here for it. I'm ready and raring to go. Derek's been flying that belt behind him for the entire year, so you know I got to get one on my own, man. But either way, if y'all made it this far, man, thank you so much. You know we already love and appreciate you. It's going to be a great fight card this weekend, a sleeper of a card, but it's going to be fun regardless.
Absolutely. Folks, you already know what time it is. If you haven't subscribed yet, now this is the opportunity. It's never too late. Do it now. Why not? But that's it for us. Catch us on Monday for the post show, UFC Vegas 63. We will be recapping all of the action. Rate us 5 stars, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. If you let us know, we will shout you out on the show. But until then, folks, that's it for us. Until next time, peace.